I feel in this type of presentation that it is very valuable to put a face on recovery, on mental illness, on addiction. It makes it more identifiable. And in this year's case, at this presentation, it's the face of someone that you may not expect. This year, I've chosen a United States military veteran to tell their personal story to you. And I can't tell you how difficult it was to find someone to tell their story, to the point where I almost wanted to move forward with the presentation today without it. And I understand that. It's very, very difficult to talk about. Luckily, I was able to find a wonderful young lady who was willing to share her story with us today. She's the student government president here at Penn State Shenango, and she currently serves in the Pennsylvania Army National Guard. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Ms. Mandy Eagler.
I'm just gonna put these out there for right now. Hi everyone, I'm Mandy. Most people looking at me don't realize that I'm a veteran. I'm sure now that most of you have gotten to know me, you know some of my past, what I've been comfortable sharing, some of the stuff I haven't been comfortable sharing up to this point. I've been practicing in a mirror for like the last month, and now that I'm up here, it's a lot harder. I joined the military in 2011. It was at a time whenever everything was ramping down. Whenever I joined, my recruiter assured me, might as well join now. You can get those educational benefits because you're not going to deploy. You know, we're getting soldiers out of there. I joined, and my second trip back, I found out that I was deploying. It turned my whole world upside down. My military experience has been one of my best and worst decisions of my life. I'm so proud to be a military veteran, but at the same time, it nearly destroyed my life. It destroyed relationships, and it still continues to be a factor in my life today. When I deployed in 2012, at that time, in December, I left with my family being so upset that they wouldn't talk to me. I didn't talk to my dad for 6 months while I was overseas. At the time, I was also married. Whenever I called home, it became apparent that they were continuing to live without me, and that made me so angry. Whenever I would call home, I was often using phone cards that people would buy for us that had minutes on, and we had one phone to 25 soldiers. And that was, we were able to use that phone if no one else was on it, and if work wasn't calling on it. So there was far and few times that I was able to call. I was often choosing to call my husband at the time, and I was often getting his voicemail, not getting any response from him. I talked to him 3 times while I was overseas, 3 times in 9 months. I eventually gave up, and instead of calling him, I called my family because I knew that they would pick up. Whenever I returned home, I not only had to deal with having these different feelings of transitioning from a service life to becoming a civilian, I also had to deal with becoming divorced at a young age. And not only this, whenever you come back, you go through a transition period right before you even get to see your family, where they're diagnosing you. They're making sure that you're fit and healthy and you're ready to return home. It's whenever I first realized that there was a stigma about mental health. Not only with that, but especially in the military. As I was getting ready to come home, so excited to finally see my family, I had sergeants constantly telling me, don't tell them about that injury, don't tell them that you're feeling this way because it's just going to delay you getting home. don't you want to go home and see your family? So I lied, and I know a lot of people who lied about what they were going through just to get home to their families. I wasn't prepared to become a civilian, and I dealt with it on my own because the military taught me to do this. Soldiers are weak. There's no room for weakness. They're constantly putting it into your mind that the mission is what matters. You don't matter. Your life does not matter in the grand scheme of things. And I understand you have to do this because the mission does matter, but whenever you're telling these people this, but then you transition them back into their civilian lives, and they still think that way, and there's no longer a mission, that's whenever the 22 figures, a day comes into play, because these people don't feel like they matter. I didn't feel like I mattered. And I have maintained my own, just by strength from my family, which I was able to reconnect with, but I wasn't able to do it well. I lost family, extended family. I lost friends that I grew up with because they couldn't deal with my issues anymore. And I fought through it. I fought through it on my own, and I got to where I am today. I'm happily engaged. But there's always going to be this on-off switch in me where it's either absolute rage that's just brought on by anything. I found out this whenever I went to the movie theater for the first time after being deployed. Two girls sat in front of me just talking a little bit over a whisper as the movie started. I started to shake violently and cry because I wanted them to shut up. Little things like that can trigger me into like a panic, and it's either that or completely numb. I still have trouble sleeping, and it wasn't until I talked with Jack that I even realized I had this problem. He charged me with finding somebody to talk to you, and at first that wasn't me. I hadn't gone to seek any kind of treatment because I thought, I'm not a soldier, I don't need help. It would be weak for me to ask for help. But talking to these people, I'm so privileged that I got to talk to these people and have them share that story with me, because it wouldn't have been enough for me to ever seek counseling if not. I had these people tell me their stories and feel comfortable telling me these stories. And all at the same time, I'm thinking, that's me. I'm dealing with the same things. It's basically like they're telling my story and realizing these people are so much better off. But then having them tell me, I can't tell this story because, well, I'm comfortable telling you. I don't want my boyfriend to find out. I don't want my friends to find out. I don't want my job to find out. Having these people tell me this, that stigma came into play again, and it almost stopped me again. But then somebody brought up here, last year we lost a military veteran. We lost one of our own, and that became something that guided me, that gave me that strength that I needed to come up here and say this, because I care about every single one of you. I'm not just your student government president, I care about you as a friend. We don't have to be these acquaintances that pass each other in the hallway and we ask, hey, how are you doing? But before somebody even has time to say, I'm fine, you're gone. We don't have to be this way. We're here to make those connections because you might not be in crisis right now, but who's to say something's not going to happen tomorrow that might put you, into a place where you're not ready to deal with. And if you don't have that support system, I don't want you to be that statistic. I don't want to lose you because I'm not ready to lose you. I love my counselor. She's not a counselor, she's my friend. And I think that's what it needs to be. I think it needs to stop being, I go to a shrink and I'm crazy, to start thinking she's going to get help and I'm going to be there for her. We have all these clubs on campus, and I am so proud to be part of the Student Veterans Club on campus because Wendy, you've been my rock for the last years without even realizing it. You've been my rock. Darby, without you coming up to me this morning, I don't think I'd be up here. I was just like 5 seconds away from just being like, I can't do this. So we need those people in our lives. Get involved with those people because they will be there. They will be able to see the changes in you before you probably will be able to see changes in yourself. I am so proud to be able to come up here and tell my story. But it doesn't have to be this. It doesn't have to be once a year we talk about our feelings and we don't judge each other. It has to be more than that. It has to be an ongoing thing where we're comfortable talking to one another about anything and not judging one another and just embracing one another and not just being those acquaintances. So please, we have so many different resources available. Use them. Tony's here. Tony's seen me cry more times than I would like to admit, but he's here. I'm here. You have faculty and staff here that really want to see you succeed. There's so many different resources, not just for veterans. If you are a veteran and you want those resources, please get a hold of me. I will put that stuff anywhere you want to, make sure it is available to you. I use Military One Source. That was my stepping stone, and they were able to get me to where I needed to go. And use those sources, use those people around you, because I care about you, and I want you to succeed. So please, please stay with me. And if you need anything, I am always on campus. Do not be afraid to come over to me and talk to me. I have 10 million business cards because Heidi always gives me them. So please use them. I don't want to be your acquaintance anymore. I won't have it. I want to be your friend. So thank you. Thank you so much.